At 5, a high school campus, the scene of two fights, one involving students, the other adults who barged into the school without authorization.
Inland Empire Bureau Chief Rob McMillan on why those adults got onto campus and what the school is saying about that security breach.
If you're considering visiting the United States of America and you're wondering what areas to avoid and what areas to go to have a good time, then one of the ways that you can know for sure, almost 100%, that you are in an area that you should not be in and you need to call an Uber to get out of there almost immediately is if that area is named for a civil rights hero like Martin Luther King Jr. or Malcolm X or similar, because those streets and those boulevards tend to be where things go down. And if you're ever at an intersection where it's Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard on Malcolm X Street, you really need to get out of there. Oh wait, you're already shot and you're already dead. And unfortunately, this naming convention and the association with danger is not only related to street corners, it actually extends to high schools. And a perfect example of this is this high school in Riverside, California, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. High School, to be exact, where not only did we have a vicious brawl between students, but apparently adults that are sometimes described as family members, sometimes described as parents, decided to break into the school to physically assault students in a revenge ploy for a physical assault that occurred against their family member. And no, I'm not kidding about this. This is a thing that actually happened, and we're going to break it down today. But before we do, I want to thank everybody who supports this channel via actualjusticewarrior.com/join.
Give me the money. Give me the money, okay?
Cell phone video going viral on social media of a fight at a Riverside high school. Not just students involved, but adults, who police say stormed onto campus to get revenge for a family member involved in an earlier fight.
So I've decided the best method to deal with the censorship gods on YouTube.com is to not play the blurred version of the video that is seen on the local news, but in fact to freeze frame it, because I know that YouTube is going to say, even though that's blurred, that somehow it is a violation of the violence policy on their platform, and then this video won't get out to the broader public. But make no mistake about it, what we see in the multiple angles of this particular video is a vicious fight involving multiple participants, a brawl if you will, and allegedly, reportedly at this moment in time, this involves adults who were able to barge into the school that's already dangerous because, again, one fight set off the interaction and what happened in the next fight. And it's just an absurdity that we have not hardened our campuses to the point where this is wildly inappropriate. I don't want to take this to a dark place, but had somebody had a firearm and intent to do harm, it appears that the security at Martin Luther King Jr. High School in Riverside, California is completely unprepared for that. And that is really unfortunate and really sad. And by the way, even though we hear about these mass shooting events in certain schools that go viral and get the national media attention, make no mistake about it, the everyday kind of shootings and stabbings that happen in schools like this, and happen because we don't have adequate security measures in these locations in order to deter this from happening.
At some point after that fight had ended, one of those students called family members to the school. Those family members arrived and kind of barged their way in through the office and went directly towards the one student who was fighting with their family member and started another fight.
The breach in security happened on Wednesday at King High School in Riverside.
So at the time of me recording this video, I don't have any images of the suspects from the police, even though they appear to know a lot about this particular case. But I do want to touch upon the fact that it appears that the student that was first attacked or first in a fight, it's not really clear if that was mutual combat or some kind of brawl like what we saw later on in these other videos, ended up calling members of his or her family in order to get them to the campus in order to seek revenge on his behalf. Now, I'm old enough to remember when cell phones first started becoming a thing in the United States of America, when youth started having these cell phones, and my middle school actually banned students from having cell phones on campus, not for the reasons why these smartphone bans are being pushed right now, because they're believed to be a distraction, but because of this very circumstance. experience. The idea that students would coordinate attacks, call in their friends, end up attacking people on campus. But of course, in my middle school, the concern was hypothetical because this hadn't really happened to this extent. And in addition to that, nobody would have imagined that people would be summoning their parents or their adult relatives to come in and beat down a student on campus. This is absolutely absurd. This is ridiculous. But again, it's not surprising when you understand that schools like Martin Luther King High School, or King High School as this is referred to, even though it's clearly named for Dr. Martin Luther King, tend to have this kind of reputation. This is one of the reasons why when you see the charter school lotteries in these blue areas, that black parents line up 4 blocks for the chance of just winning the opportunity to pull their kids out of these schools, because yes, they can be this dangerous. And by the way, we have all these different disciplinary policies that say it's racist to, hold black students accountable because they're getting in trouble disproportionately in our K through 12 education system. But in reality, black people commit more crime, more assaults out in the streets, and the peak offending years are age 14 to 24. So it's kind of ridiculous to expect everything to be proportional in school, but we understand as soon as they get off campus out in the real world, when it comes to our criminal justice system, that crime is anything but proportionate. It is wildly disproportionate. So we could have preceding instances where these students were given slaps on the wrist, and that has created a greater environment of danger. And this is due to woke policies in terms of suspensions that, of course, lead to these repeat offenders in the school level being able to escalate their behavior until they get to this point.
Even when campus staff got there to break it up, they were attacked as well. Fortunately, we didn't have any serious injuries, although one of these students was taken to a hospital, but he's going to be okay.
So we have a cop right here from the Riverside Police Department, and he's breaking down what went down in this scenario, and he's saying, look, fortunately there weren't serious injuries, but make no mistake about it, this was not only a vicious assault on the student, but you actually had staffers trying to break this up, people who worked at the school, and they were physically assaulted by these people who came into this school in order to get revenge. And again, it's kind of being glossed over at this moment in time, but this is a major security failure at this high school, considering the outsized attention that hardening our public schools ends up getting in the media after these mass casualty events. I think this is something that should be highlighted when you're looking back on this and you're examining what failures led to these circumstances.
We don't know if they are armed. We don't know who these people are.
Vanessa Brogdon says she thinks the campus should have immediately been put on lockdown, with unauthorized adults coming onto school grounds.
No one called a lockdown. I have friends who are teachers here, and of course my daughter that goes here, students that are here. Nobody knew that this occurrence was happening, and so everyone is potentially in danger.
So here we have a parent of a girl that goes to this school who, by the way, should immediately pull her daughter out of this school, make no mistake about it, called Vanessa Brogdon. And all I have to say about what Vanessa Brogdon said is that she's 100% accurate. The fact is, the school is designed to go into lockdown when you have unauthorized entrance with violent intent to campus. And again, this is something else that connects back to what I was saying earlier about security procedures that are going down in our K through 12 schools, especially after we see all these high-profile incidents and how we talk and we discuss security, but it doesn't appear that's something that we do. Also, the parents were not informed of this attack, according to her, and in addition to that, Vanessa Brogdon is an attractive woman. There we go. I said it. I know you preverts were thinking it out there in the audience. You want to go over to her house for cookie night or whatever the kids do in the use if you're on this campus, and I have to say I 100% agree with you. All right, we're on board. We all agree on the facts and the circumstances, but we also agree that Vanessa, nice looking lady, nice looking mother right here, who should definitely pull her daughter out of this school and send her somewhere better. Also, and maybe this is a little side note, but I noticed that the team at this particular MLK school is called the Wolves, and one of the things that I remember from the Central Park story is that the youths, when they gather up and they start attacking people, are often referred to as wolf packs by the police. police, and this appears to be a perfect example of a wolf pack prowling and preying on somebody on this particular campus. But apparently it expands far beyond just the students, as you have other parents involved in this particular attack.
In a notice the district put out to parents, they said that these unauthorized adults failed to follow the proper check-in procedures, and when campus security tried to intervene, they were assaulted.
So the school, of course, eventually releases a statement, and of course this is well after the fact. They didn't inform the parents at the time. They had to hear about this from their kids and from social media, and in that statement they say the obvious, which is the unauthorized adults who entered the campus in an illegal way, they did not follow the appropriate check-in procedures, which is typically what you would expect when you have an instance of unauthorized criminals coming onto your campus in order to initiate an attack against one or more of your students. And of course, they assaulted the school resource officers or the school security. I don't know if they're actually police officers in this particular case, because you remember in the defund the police movement, they also wanted the actual cops with arrest power being pulled out of the school. So it's very likely that that could have happened right here. Again, I don't know at this moment in time. And again, they're assaulting security, they're assaulting other teachers, other staff, they're assaulting students, and the school doesn't go into lockdown. The school doesn't follow those procedures that we would expect post all these different various shootings that we've seen at various different public schools.
They go on to say, quote, "We are also working closely with our district leadership to review and strengthen our safety procedures to address situations where individuals refuse to follow campus entry protocols."
Again, the first half of the statement from the school district was nothing, and the second half of this statement was also nothing. We're working with community leaders in order to figure out how we strengthen security and deal with people who don't follow our entrance protocols. Thank you for the word salad statement right there that basically can be summarized in 2 words or 3 words, which is, we effed up. We totally messed this situation up. We completely failed, but now we're going to hear from some students who have some more common sense than the adults in this situation.
I just feel like security needs to do a better job of not letting random people on campus.
Students we spoke with are also concerned.
Parents got on campus without, with ease, so I think it's pretty ridiculous how that can happen.
So the news ends up interviewing some students. The first student is named Camden Clearly, and clearly he understands that you're not supposed to let unauthorized people onto campus, which I guess needed to be said. And then we get another statement from another student called Andrew Dixon. Unfortunately, I can't make a pun related to his name, but also I have no disagreements with what he said either. Again, this is so obvious. The ridiculousness of this situation speaks for itself. I don't expect children under the age of 4 to not be able to understand this, because yeah, you shouldn't be letting criminals onto your campus, not able to check in, and then attacking students on said campus. This is basic stuff, but apparently at Martin Luther King Jr. High School in Riverside, they can't seem to figure that out.
Riverside police say the family members who came onto campus to retaliate are being investigated for trespassing as well as assault.
To have your family, your adult family, come up and now instigate more violence, that's completely unacceptable.
Now look, as of right now, again, I don't have any information on the suspects beyond what is told to us in these various local news segments. I don't know if any arrests are made. This story is about a day to 2 days old at the moment in time that I'm shooting this video. But if this story has some interesting twists and updates, I will update you accordingly. But as of right now, I'm going to leave it right here because I want to know what you guys think about this down in the comments below. As per usual, if you like the video, show them by leaving a like, subscribe for more content, follow me on my social medias, support me via support links in the description of this video. This has been me talking about a crazy campus brawl. Till next time.